Hello, family. Hello, hello, hello. Good morning. Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday to each and every one of you. I am so excited and so glad to I'm glad to jump on. And I'm just glad to be here. I really am excited about the place where God has you right now. And I really do believe that this place where God has you, it's kind of superseding all of your ideas of what you thought God was. I think that God is really revealing himself to you in a way right now that is beyond your understanding. It's beyond your idea. It's beyond the small precept or concept that we have had of who God was. You know, it's so amazing. I'm not sure if you've ever had times in your life before, like I've had in mine, where you maybe know a particular person or you know a particular place, and then you start to find out that that place or that person was so much more than what you had conceptualized in your head. You know, so often we see God through such a small view. And this is a part of what I want to talk to you about today. So often we see God through the view of a church. We see God through the view of I'm going to use the word small-minded people that literally cause us to limit the experience of God. You know, when we think about religion and we think about church, we think and consider all of the things that we cannot do. Right? We can't do this. You shouldn't do this. You shouldn't do this. You shouldn't be here. You shouldn't do these things. Right? And we lessen our experience on this earth, therefore stopping ourselves from fully living and living out the expectation of God. You know, for many of you, if you've walked on this road with me for the last couple of years, or the last years more specifically, I have increasingly become a lot closer to my brother, to my baby brother. And I've been hanging out and going different places with him and just enjoying life, right? And it has allowed me to experience God outside of the four walls of a church. It allowed me to experience my the gift of God that I had inside of my brother. And one day in conversation with him, he said to me, I'm so glad that I get to know you now. I'm so glad that now you're able to go with me to different places without fear of what people will say or what people will think, but you're able to just experience me as your brother. And that really, really pointed out to me in my mind how much religion had stopped me from being able to connect with those that God had already placed around me. I want to challenge you today. I want to challenge you, and this is not my scripture, this is not my point necessarily, but I want to challenge you today to become open, to living life and experiencing the gift of those that God has actually placed around you. To experience the gift of their words, to experience the gift of their ideas, to experience the gift of their love, to experience the gift of their joy, to experience the gift of what you can create with them when you become open to an idea of understanding that God is so much bigger than the four walls of a church. God is so much bigger than what you cannot do. God is so much bigger of where you cannot go. God is so much bigger. And once you literally allow yourself to tap in to the gift of God that is on the inside of you, you will find that God will lead you to larger opportunities to witness, larger opportunities to just be a friend, larger opportunities of just being there, of just being present, of just being the person that God has called to this earth for this time. The message I want to share with you today is just to help you understand that you have been marked by God. I want to point out in you that there is a myriad of emotions that maybe you have experienced in this last season. And God has been trying to reveal to you and in you and through you that you have been marked by him. You have been marked by him. That your life has actually been planned and laid out long before you ever arrived on the scene of this place called earth. That you are marked by God. And how you identify in this time, how you identify that you are one that has been marked by God is because you have experienced so much frustration as your spirit has been crying out, as your heart has been crying out, asking for deeper, asking for better, asking for clarity, asking for God to simply bring answers to you because you have not been satisfied with where you have been. You have known that there is so much more. And I say this from a perspective of there is more inside of you. There is more for you to do. There is more for you to reach than what you have reached with inside of the confines of your comfortability. And that sometimes God will send situations, circumstances, and people to point you in the direction that ultimately you need to be. Those situations and circumstances a lot of times can be things that could be very heart-shattering. Things that could shock you, that could almost if we're honest about it, could almost damage us if it was not for his presence being with us. And understanding that the God that is with us will not allow us to be consumed by what we are facing. That he will not allow us to be consumed by what we're dealing with, but yet and still, and regardless to, he actually allows those things so that he can mold us and shape us into these perfect images of what he had in mind for us. Even though sometimes we may fight it, even though sometimes we may buck against it, even though sometimes for you and for me, we can't see it. Sometimes we cannot see just who we are inside of him. Sometimes we can't see it because of the circumstances that are around us. And sometimes it's because of what we have experienced in our life, whether it is the trauma, whether it is just not feeling that we are up to par. It could be because someone dropped us. It could be because someone was not there to support us that should have been there. It could have been because maybe our mother or our father was not in our life the way that they should have been in our life. And so we harbor and hold that unforgiveness. We harbor and hold that damage that is layered with so many other realities on top of it. But what God is doing in this season, God is really bringing you into a place of understanding and knowing your calling, your purpose, and that you are marked. How do I know that God is talking to me in this season? I know that God is talking to me because there's so many different signs that are coming to me. And maybe I'm having a hard time. Maybe you're having a hard time putting those signs together. But you know without a shadow of a doubt that God is leading you and he's orchestrating you. Forget all of the nonsense of the church stuff. Forget the nonsense of that and tap into the nonsense of who God really is welling up inside of you in this season. How God is forming your life. How God is causing things to come together to send messages to you in order to place you in the right position. He does this because he has marked you. And sure, it may feel frustrating because it's so many circumstances that is clouding your mind. You know, yesterday I had the pleasure, the esteemed honor of speaking to a friend of mine. And I was talking to this friend, and I've been talking to this friend for some period of time. And they have been explaining and kind of sharing with me the process of the current relationship that they have been battling and dealing with. And when this person came to me, they would say all of the right things. They would have all of the right answers, but they just weren't able to put the answers together because the enemy of their destiny was so wise and so keen that it knew how to attract their mind into all of these different places so that they weren't able to hear the truth that was being spoken right inside of them. And it really challenges our minds. It really challenges our heart to understand and to know that, wow, maybe all along I have all of the answers I need. Maybe all along I've had all of the clarification that I've needed. But I've had so many distractions, whether it was family, whether it was health, whether it was finances, whether it was busy work, whether it was a toxic relationship. I've had so many different things pulling at my mind because the enemy of my destiny did not want me to tap into the value of what was inside of me. I want you to think about your distractions for a moment. I want you to think about the fact that your distractions always leave you in a position of thinking that you're not enough. Your distractions are always causing you to think you have to do more or say more or be better or to be something different. Your distractions are always making you feel that you're just not enough. That's how you identify them as distractions, because they are constantly messing with your self-esteem. Distractions always mess with your self-esteem. That is a key indicator that it is a distraction trying to pull you away from knowing the truth of God that is on the inside of you. And the reason why the enemy does this is because he knows if you ever lack in or lock in to the truth of who you are, then you, my dear, are an unstoppable force. You, my dear, are a marked individual with so much purpose, with so much calling, with so many gifts, with so many talents, that you would destroy his kingdom of darkness. That once you become truly happy to live in your truth, that once you become truly firm in the foundation of who God has created you to be, outside of the expectation of others, outside of trying to please and trying to fit in with others, outside of the ramifications of trying to not do what everyone says you should not do, but locking in to what you actually are called to do. There is a scripture that came to my heart this morning in Ephesians chapter number 1, verse number 3. It says, "In whom ye also trusted after that ye heard the word of truth, the gospel of your salvation, in whom also after that ye believed, ye were sealed," that the Holy Spirit of promise. Ye were sealed. You have already been marked. And the truth, as you come to accept it, and as you come to live in it, as you come to embrace it, the truth will help you to fulfill your marked calling upon this earth. The marked calling that is outside of everything that has tried to limit you. And it's right inside of the perfect plan of God for your life. It is right inside of the idea of who God has created and called you to be. My friends, my plea with you today is that you live life, and that you live life not focused on what you should not do, but that you live life from the perspective of what you are supposed to do. That you show up to the right places, that you are around the right people. And it may not be what your grandma said or what your friend said. It may be something that looks completely different than what you have done up to this point. That you show up and that you are present to be used fully for his glory. And that may look very different than a tambourine in a Bible. That may look very different than wearing your church hat or your church shoes. What it may look like being at a cookout with your family. It may look like going to places with your sisters and with your brothers. It may look like you going to the grocery store at the right time. It may look like you being sensitive on the job that you've been fussing about to figure out, who am I sent here to listen to? Who am I sent here to be a difference in their life? It may be listening to the friends that you have around you and hearing every lesson you need to hear and giving every lesson that you are supposed to give. It may simply be and you resting in the confidence of God and telling yourself every single day, Lord, I am walking in the path that you have laid out for me. And this path that you have laid out for me has not been laid out for everybody else. And I'm not going to try to walk in their steps. I'm not going to try to mimic what they do, but I am going to do what I have been called here to do on this earth, in this time, and in this season. You have been marked by God. And that is the reason why you will never be comfortable being what everybody else wants. You will never be comfortable trying to please everyone else. You will only be comfortable once you have become true to the calling that God has made for you. And you have ascertained the idea that you are marked. The moment you understand how to use something, you handle it differently. I'm going to say that again. The moment that you understand how to use something, you handle it differently. Once you understand how to use the gifts, the tools, and you understand the value of who you are, you will handle yourself differently, and then you will begin to attract new to you. You will become who God has created, and then you will attract what is right. You want to know why you have been attracting a lot of nonsense? You want to know why you have been attracting a lot of frustration, a lot of bickering, a lot of convoluted circumstances and situations? You want to know why? The reason why is because you attract what you have experienced on the inside. You attract what you believe about yourself on the inside. So the moment that you begin to believe the truth concerning yourself, you will begin to attract circumstances and situations that line up with the authenticity of who you have been called to be in this earth. And things, not everything will be easy, but things will begin to work for you, as opposed to working to fight with you or fight against you. They will begin to work for you. And then the peace of God that surpasses all understanding will guard your heart and guard your mind. The reason why you have had a lack of peace is because you have given it out to all of these distractions. You have given it out responding and going after. I want you to think about some of the distractions and how they beckon for responses from you, whether it's calling you names or trying to get you into arguments or trying to get you into combativeness or trying to get you confused. You've given out so much of your energy and so much of yourself that you can't even tap in. You have not enough energy left to tap into the gift of God that's inside of you. And that is the point. But because you are marked by God, He allows you to experience this. And not for a moment does He forsake you. Not for a moment does He dismiss you. Not for a moment does He walk away from you. Not from a moment does He turn His back on you. Not for a moment. But He is still with you. He's still with you because He's still in you. And He is calling you to the place to receive everything that He has for you. Everything He has for you to do. I've come on to this morning to give you this message, to let you know that there's nothing wrong with you. That these things that you're experiencing, that they are only pointing towards the truth of what you really need to see and hear and become. That God makes no mistakes, that there are no accidents. You, my dear, you are not a mistake, nor are you an accident. But you've been placed here on purpose. And God is not going to rest until that purpose comes out of you. And until you begin to do all that you have been called to do on this earth. I believe in you. I believe in the calling that God has for you. I believe in the assignment that you have on this earth. And I believe that it is worth you dismissing yourself from anything that's telling you that you are not. Anything that's trying to point out the wrong, point out what's wrong with you. Anything that's trying to always convolute your mind to frustrate you. That you will simply have enough power and that you will simply have enough strength to walk away so that you can focus on you. There was a young lady by the name of Her. She wrote this song, Focus on Me. It's one of my favorite songs. I know, for y'all church people, whatever. It's one of my favorite songs. And it means something to me because it helped me to focus back on me. The song says, can you focus on me? And I was listening to that song one day and I realized that the focus I was needing was not to give it in all of these other places, but was to focus on me. And that's what I'm telling you today. I'm using Her to tell you who you are. Focus on you. Focus on you. There is a greater calling. You must lock in. You have been called, chosen, marked by God. You will never be comfortable until you have locked in to who God has called you to be. Come closer. Can you come closer? And in this season of your life, God will do everything He can to prove to you just who you are to Him. Doors are going to open for you that you never expected. And some of those dreams and those visions that you have had that you've wondered, when are they going to happen? They've been held back for this time. Now is the season that you are going to walk in. Now is the time that you are going to experience and see every single thing that God said would be yours. I'm giving you a little secret. The secret is it was always in you. You just couldn't see it. You had everything you need. 1 John chapter 3. He has given you everything you need for this life. It's already inside of you. But you've had so many distractions. But now I am speaking into your soul. And I'm telling your soul to be still in Him. Confident in Him. Not in everything and everybody else. But be confident on the God on the inside. Greater is He that is within you than he that is within this world. I'm hoping that this message has resonated with you. I'm hoping that you have been blessed by the words that I've shared with you. And I'm hoping that this literally wakes you up to see how great you are. Doesn't matter if anybody else sees it. God will hide your goodness from those that it's not meant to be experienced by. He's hid your goodness from those that it wasn't meant. Imagine if he had allowed the wrong people to see your goodness. Imagine that. Imagine that. He loves you, so he protected you. I hope this message has resonated with you on today, and that I've said something that will bless you, something that has lifted you, something that has encouraged you. That was my entire purpose and my entire goal. To encourage you, to lift you, to help you to see the gift of God inside of you. That you'd stop doubting yourself. That you would stop dismissing the gift that you are. That you would start speaking life back into yourself and understand that you've already been marked by God. Maybe today you are believing and thinking, hey, I don't even know how to begin this journey. And if that is you, I'm going to invite you just to simply type right down in the chat, I need prayer. And a member of our prayer team will reach out to you at some point throughout this day, and they will pray for you. Maybe you're saying, I want to give my heart to God. Maybe it's not to a church, but I want to give my heart to God. And I want to invite you to say, hey, that's me. And one of the members of our prayer team, they will reach out to you. Wherever you are, whoever you are, if this message has blessed you, please do me a favor. I want you to send me a message directly and say thank you. You always come back to say thank you when someone has said something that has touched you. Say thank you. Ayoka has put a link right down at the bottom where you can share a offering. I invite you to share. I invite you to sow. I invite you to give wherever you have been blessed. If this has been a seed into your life, I invite you to sow into that. There's the links right down at the bottom, and we welcome you and invite you to sow. And I thank you in advance for every gift that you will give. I don't care whether it's $5, I don't care whether it's 20, whether it's 1,000, whether it's 500, it doesn't matter. Whatever God has laid on your heart to give, I want to thank you in advance. I also want to thank you. I want to thank you for surviving. Thank you for not giving up on yourself. Thank you for not dying when it became too hard. My prayers today are with each and every one of you. I'm praying for you. I love you, but He loves you best. God bless you.